Hello everyone, and welcome to my General Hospital official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up.
Carly's world had been uneasy for weeks, maybe even months, though she couldn't quite put her finger on why. Every time she walked into the room, Jocelyn and Brennan would quiet their voices or exchange glances that spoke volumes. She knew her daughter well. Jocelyn wasn't good at hiding secrets, especially when it involved her mother. But this time, Carly sensed something different, something heavier than teenage drama or relationship trouble. This wasn't about Dex or school. This was something deeper, and the pit in her stomach told her she wasn't going to like it. One late evening at Bobby's, as the cafe lights flickered low and the last few customers drifted out, Carly was wiping down the counter when she noticed Joss and Brennan sitting outside near the window. Their conversation was hushed, intense. Brennan leaned in close, his tone firm but quiet, and Joss looked conflicted. Carly froze mid-motion, her eyes narrowing as she watched the two. Brennan reached across the table, putting a hand on Joss's arm. That was it. Carly tossed the rag aside and stormed out the door. Jocelyn! Carly snapped, startling her daughter. Joss jumped, eyes wide, her face instantly pale. "Mom, what are you doing here?" she stammered, glancing at Brennan as though begging him to stay quiet. Brennan straightened up, his calm facade slipping just slightly. Carly crossed her arms. "Funny question, considering this is my cafe. The better question is, what are you doing here with him? And why do you both look like you've seen a ghost?" Brennan cleared his throat, trying to smooth over the tension. "Carly, it's not what it looks like." Carly gave him a sharp look. "Don't even start with me, Brennan. I've been around long enough to know that's what people say right before the truth comes out." Joss swallowed hard, her eyes darting between the two. "Mom, please, just calm down. We were just talking." "Talking?" Carly repeated, her voice thick with sarcasm. "About what, Jocelyn? Because lately, every time I ask, you suddenly have to go or you don't want to get into it." She turned to Brennan, her gaze cutting. "And you, what business do you have with my daughter? You're supposed to be out of her life. You promised me that." Brennan's jaw tightened. "I know what I promised, but this isn't about you or me. It's about keeping Joss safe." Carly's eyes narrowed further. "Safe from what?" she asked slowly, her heart beginning to pound. Joss looked down at the table, tears welling in her eyes. "Mom, there's something you need to know." Brennan looked at her, then gave a short nod. "Go ahead, Jocelyn. She deserves to know." Joss took a deep breath, her voice trembling. "Brennan and we've been working together behind the scenes. It started when he came back to Port Charles. He told me things about what really happened with Dex, and about what my dad was involved in before everything fell apart." Carly's breath hitched. "What do you mean? What about Sonny?" Brennan exhaled, leaning forward. "Carly, it's about a shipment Sonny was never supposed to be tied to. It wasn't his operation, but someone wanted to make it look like it was. There's someone pulling strings, someone who's still out there." Carly's hands trembled slightly. "And you didn't think to tell me this?" she asked Joss. "You went behind my back, with him?" Joss bit her lip. "Mom, I was trying to protect you. You've been through enough with Sonny, and with the feds breathing down his neck, I didn't want you caught up in this mess again." Brennan said. "Brennan said?" Carly interrupted sharply. "Since when do you take orders from Brennan? He's the reason half this chaos started." She turned to him, her tone full of fire. "You manipulated my daughter. You used her to clean up your mess, didn't you?" Brennan's calm exterior finally cracked. "No, Carly. I've been trying to stop a war before it starts. Sonny's name is being used by people far more dangerous than you realize. Joss came to me because she wanted answers, and I gave them to her." Carly's chest tightened as anger and fear swirled inside her. "You had no right," she hissed. "You don't get to pull my daughter into this world again." She almost lost Dex once because of mob business. I won't let her be dragged into that life ever again. Joss stood abruptly, tears spilling down her cheeks. Mom, you don't get it. I did this because I had to. I couldn't just stand by while everyone pretended everything was fine. Brennan told me people were targeting our family, and I believed him. I still do. Targeting our family? Carly repeated, her voice softening for just a second. Who? Brennan exchanged a glance with Joss before saying quietly, someone inside the organization, someone close to Sunny. They're the ones who leaked information to the authorities, and they're still operating from within. Joss and I found proof. Carly blinked in disbelief. Proof? What kind of proof? Joss pulled a small flash drive from her purse and set it on the table. This. It has names, accounts, transactions, all of it. Brennan helped me get it. But we couldn't risk telling you until we knew it was real. Carly stared at the flash drive as if it might explode. Her voice was low and shaking. You kept this from me. You lied every single day, Jocelyn. And you, she shot a glare at Brennan, you let her carry this burden alone? Brennan shook his head. She wasn't alone. I made sure she was protected. Protected? Carly snapped. You mean watched. Controlled. Manipulated. Carly, I didn't manipulate her. I'm trying to make things right, Brennan said firmly. You might not believe me, but the danger is real. If that information gets into the wrong hands, everyone connected to Sunny, including you, could be in serious trouble. Carly's voice trembled with fury. You think I care about myself? It's my daughter I care about. You put her in harm's way, Brennan. And you, Joss, how could you not trust me? Joss's lip quivered. Because I knew you'd try to stop me, she whispered. You always do. You always try to protect me, but sometimes, Mom, I have to protect you. The words hit Carly harder than she expected. She looked at her daughter, her brave, stubborn, grown-up daughter, and saw not a child anymore but a young woman caught between loyalty and fear. Brennan stood silently, letting the moment hang heavy in the air. Carly finally exhaled, trying to steady herself. You think I can't handle the truth? After everything I've lived through, after losing Sunny, losing Jason, fighting every lie that's ever been thrown my way, you think I can't take it? Joss shook her head. It's not that, Mom. It's that you shouldn't have to. Carly went quiet, her anger dissolving into heartbreak. She turned away, her eyes glistening. You're my daughter, Jocelyn. I've fought my whole life to keep you safe. But secrets like this, they destroy families. Brennan stepped forward cautiously. Carly, she did what she thought was right. And now that you know, we can fix this together. But we don't have much time. That flash drive, it's already being tracked. Carly spun around. Tracked? What do you mean, tracked? Brennan nodded grimly. The people who own that data, they know someone's taken it. They'll come looking for it. And if they find out Joss has it, they'll come after her. Carly finished for him, her protective instincts flaring. She grabbed the flash drive and clenched it tightly in her hand. Not a chance in hell. Nobody touches my daughter. Joss reached for her mother's hand. Mom, please, listen to Brennan. We need to go to the PCPD before it's too late. If we hand this over, we can end it. Carly hesitated, torn between her mistrust of Brennan and her need to protect Joss. You think I trust the PCPD after everything they've done to this family? They'll twist it, use it against us. Brennan said quietly, then we make sure they can't. I know someone inside who can help, someone who still believes in justice. Carly's gaze hardened again. You're asking me to trust you, after everything you've done? I'm asking you to trust your daughter, Brennan replied softly. The silence between them was thick with emotion. Joss's eyes pleaded with her mother's. Mom, please. I need you to believe me. Finally, Carly sighed, shoulders sagging. All right, she said slowly. But if anything happens to her, anything, you'll answer to me, Brennan. Brennan nodded solemnly. Understood. As they left the cafe together, the flash drive hidden safely in Carly's purse, the air felt charged with both fear and determination. For the first time in weeks, Carly knew the truth, but it came with a cost. Her daughter had lied to her, Brennan had betrayed her trust again, and now their lives were tangled in a web of danger that could consume them all. Later that night, as they reached Carly's house, she turned to Brennan. If this backfires, and it leads the wrong people here, I swear I'll make you regret ever stepping foot in Port Charles again. Brennan gave her a steady look. Fair enough. But right now, the only thing that matters is keeping Joss safe. We're in this together whether we like it or not. Carly exhaled slowly, glancing at Joss, who stood close, trembling but resolute. You and me, Jocelyn, we'll face this. But after this is over, we're done with secrets. No more lies, no more protecting me. We do this together. Joss nodded, her voice soft but certain. Together. As the night deepened and the storm clouds rolled over Port Charles, Carly knew this was just the beginning. The truth was out, but the danger it unleashed would change everything. The late afternoon sun cast long, distorted shadows across the polished floor of Kelly's diner, turning the familiar space into a landscape of elongated tables and stretched-out chair legs. Carly Spencer stood behind the counter, methodically wiping down the already gleaming surface with a clean white cloth. The rhythmic, circular motion was a poor substitute for the control she craved, a feeble attempt to impose order on a world that felt increasingly chaotic and opaque. It was a habit she'd developed over a lifetime. When the emotional storms raged, she cleaned, she organized, she took action. But this current unease was different. It wasn't a sudden squall she could shout down or outmaneuver. It was a slow, creeping fog, dense and silent, seeping into the cracks of her life, and it centered on her daughter. Jocelyn, her vibrant, headstrong, brilliant daughter, had become a stranger wearing a familiar face. The change had been subtle at first, a series of small deviations from the norm that Carly, with a mother's hypervigilant radar, had catalogued unconsciously. The missed family dinners, explained away with a breezy, "Sorry, Mom," got caught up with a study group. The way her laughter, once a free, uninhibited sound that filled a room, had become measured, almost performative. The new, constant presence of her phone, which she guarded with a possessiveness that felt alien. Joss had always been private, a trait she'd undoubtedly inherited from her father, but this was beyond privacy. This was secrecy. This was a wall, meticulously constructed brick by brick, and Carly was on the wrong side of it. She told herself it was just college stress, the natural growing pains of a young woman forging her own identity away from her mother's shadow. She'd had the same struggles with Michael, with Morgan. The memory of her second son sent its usual, sharp pang through her, a pain that had dulled from a searing wound to a permanent, aching hollow. She couldn't bear the thought of losing her connection to Jocelyn, too. Not to distance, not to secrets. And then there was Dex Heller. The brooding, loyal bodyguard turned boyfriend. He was part of it, Carly was sure. He and Joss shared looks that were more than just the smitten glances of young lovers, they were laden with a shared, heavy knowledge. When she asked Dex point blank if Joss was in some kind of trouble, his jaw would tighten, and he'd offer a terse, "She's fine, Carly. Just school." He was a terrible liar, but his loyalty, whether to Joss or to some other unspoken pact, was ironclad. The bell above the diner door jingled, slicing through her thoughts. She looked up, expecting a customer, but her breath hitched in her throat. It was Sonny Corinthos. His presence still had the power to alter the atmospheric pressure in any room he entered. He looked tired, the lines around his eyes more deeply etched than usual, but he offered her a small, tentative smile. "Carly," he said, his voice a low rumble. "Sonny," she replied, her tone carefully neutral. The history between them was a sprawling, complicated epic, a tapestry woven with threads of passionate love, searing betrayal, deep friendship, and bitter resentment. They were in one of their quieter phases now, a tentative ceasefire born of exhaustion and a shared, unwavering love for their children. He slid onto a stool at the counter. "Coffee, Please. She poured him a cup, the rich, bitter aroma filling the space between them. Everything okay? She asked, sliding the mug toward him. He took a slow sip, his eyes studying her over the rim. That's what I was going to ask you. You've looked preoccupied lately. Carly let out a short, humorless laugh. Is it that obvious? To me, it is. He set the mug down. Is it the hotel? Or something else? It was on the tip of her tongue to deflect, to give him her standard, bristling I can handle it response. But the weight of her worry for Joss was suddenly too heavy to carry alone. Sonny was Joss's father, in every way that mattered. He had a right to know something was off. It's Joss, she confessed, the words feeling like a surrender. She resumed wiping the counter, needing the motion to ground herself. She's different. Secretive. She and Dex are hiding something. I can feel it. Sonny's expression darkened immediately. The protective father, the powerful mobster, both were instantly on alert. Hiding what? Is she in danger? Did Dex get her mixed up in something? I don't know, Carly said, her frustration boiling over. That's the problem. I ask, and I get nothing. She shuts down. Dex gives me platitudes. It's like they're in some secret club, and I'm not allowed past the velvet rope. Sonny's fist clenched on the counter. I'll talk to Dex. And say what? Carly challenged, throwing the cloth down. Threaten him? That'll just make Joss defend him more. It'll push her further away. We need to be smart about this, Sonny. Not just loud. He knew she was right. He took a deep, steadying breath, the kind he used to keep his temper in check. So, what's your plan, then? You're Carly Spencer. You don't just sit back and wait. A grim determination settled on her face. No, I don't. I've been paying attention. There's a name that keeps coming up. Not directly from Joss, but in snippets of phone calls I'm not supposed to hear. A name she and Dex whisper about when they think I'm out of earshot. What name? Sonny's voice was deadly quiet. Brennan, Carly said, the name tasting foreign and sinister on her tongue. I don't know who he is. I don't know what he wants with our daughter. But I am going to find out. The resolve in her eyes was a familiar, formidable force. Sonny saw it and knew that the quiet, creeping fog was about to meet a hurricane. He nodded slowly. You find out what you can. I'll make some discreet inquiries of my own. But, Carly, be careful. If this Brennan is someone who has Jocelyn keeping secrets, he's not someone to take lightly. I'm always careful, she said, though they both knew it was a lie. Carly was many things, fierce, loyal, relentless, but careful was rarely one of them. The investigation began with the tools at her disposal. She started with the public-facing world. A deep dive into social media, business registries, and news archives yielded little. There were a few Brendan/Brennan Matthews and Johnsons, but none that felt connected to the hushed, urgent tones Joss and Dex used. This man was a ghost, which only made him more dangerous in her mind. Her next move was riskier. One afternoon, when Joss was in class and Dex was presumably with Sonny, Carly went to their apartment. She told herself she was just dropping off some groceries, a motherly gesture. But her heart hammered against her ribs as she let herself in with the key Joss had given her for emergencies. This felt like an emergency. The apartment was tidy, but it held the lived-in energy of two young people. Textbooks were piled on the coffee table, a blanket was crumpled on the sofa. Carly's eyes scanned the room, looking for anything, any clue at all. She checked the trash, feeling a pang of guilt that was quickly smothered by fear. Nothing. She moved to Joss's desk, her fingers lightly brushing over a stack of mail. Bills, flyers, nothing out of the ordinary. It was as she was about to leave, her mission a failure, that she saw it. Peeking out from under a psychology textbook was the corner of a manila folder. It was out of place, too formal, too official for college notes. With a trembling hand, she pulled it out. The folder was unlabeled. She opened it. Inside were not documents, but a single, glossy photograph. It was a candid shot, taken from a distance with a long lens. It showed a man in his late 40s or early 50s, with sharp, intelligent features and a head of silver-flecked dark hair. He was wearing a well-tailored overcoat and was getting into a black sedan. He looked successful, powerful, and utterly ruthless. There was a coldness in his eyes, even in the grainy image. Written on the back of the photograph, in Dex's unmistakably neat, blocky handwriting, was one word, Brennan. Carly's blood ran cold. This wasn't just a name whispered in fear. This was a person they were surveilling. Dex, a former enforcer, was taking pictures of this man. Why? What was the connection to Joss? Was he a threat from Sunny's world? A rival? A federal agent? The possibilities were endless, and each one was more terrifying than the last. She took a picture of the photograph with her phone, her hands shaking so badly it took 3 tries to get a clear image. She slid the folder back exactly as she had found it, her mind racing. She had a face. Now she needed a story. Her first instinct was to go to Sunny, to show him the face of the man who was somehow entangled with his daughter. But something held her back. If this was a threat from his world, he might go nuclear. He might confront Joss, confront Dex, and whatever delicate, dangerous game they were playing would blow up in their faces, possibly literally. She couldn't risk Joss's safety like that. Not yet. Instead, she went to the one person in Port Charles whose network of information rivaled, and in some ways surpassed, Sunny's, Anna Devane. The former WSB agent, now commissioner, was a friend, albeit a complicated one. Anna operated in the gray areas, but her moral compass, while sometimes difficult to read, ultimately pointed true north. She found Anna in her office at the PCPD, looking over a case file. Anna looked up as Carly entered, her expression shifting from professional focus to one of cautious curiosity. "Carly," Anna said, gesturing to a chair. "This is a surprise. What can I do for you?" Carly didn't bother with pleasantries. She pulled out her phone, brought up the picture, and slid it across the desk. "I need to know who this man is." Anna picked up the phone, her sharp eyes studying the photograph. A flicker of recognition, followed by immediate, practiced neutrality, crossed her face. She was too good to give anything away completely, but Carly had seen it. "Where did you get this?" Anna asked, her voice carefully even. "That doesn't matter," Carly said, leaning forward. "Who is he, Anna?" "His name is Brennan. I know that much. And I know he's connected to my daughter. I need to know why." Anna sighed, setting the phone down. She steepled her fingers, a classic Anna Devane thinking pose. "Carly, this is a very dangerous individual. His name is Timothy Brennan. He's an independent contractor. A facilitator. He operates in the spaces between governments and criminal enterprises. He arranges things, arms deals, information swaps, high-stakes extractions. He's a ghost, and he's very, very good at what he does." A cold dread, colder than anything she'd felt before, began to pull in Carly's stomach. An international fixer. A man who lived in the shadows. What in God's name was Jocelyn doing anywhere near someone like that? Why would my daughter be involved with a man like that? Carly's voice was a strained whisper. "I don't know," Anna said, and she seemed genuine. "But if she is, Carly, you need to tread very carefully. Brennan doesn't have enemies because he eliminates them. He doesn't leave loose ends. If Jocelyn has somehow become a person of interest to him, or worse, a liability." She didn't need to finish the sentence. The implication hung in the air between them, suffocating and horrifying. "What does he want?" Carly pressed, desperation clawing at her throat. "I don't know," Anna repeated. "But I will look into it. Discreetly." In the meantime, you need to talk to your daughter. Make her understand the gravity of the situation she's in. Talk to her daughter. It sounded so simple. But Carly knew, with a mother's devastating certainty, that Joss would not be talked to. She was in too deep. Whatever this was, she and Dex were in it together, and they had chosen their path. They were hiding the truth from her, from Sunny, from everyone. The next few days were agony. Carly moved through her life at the Metro Court like an automaton, smiling at guests, managing staff, all while her mind was screaming. Every time her phone buzzed, she jumped, terrified it would be news of some catastrophe involving Joss. She watched her daughter like a hawk, seeing the strain behind her eyes, the forced normalcy of her demeanor. The wall was higher than ever. The breaking point came on a rainy Thursday evening. Joss had come over for a rare dinner, and the conversation was stilted, filled with long, uncomfortable pauses. "How are your classes?" Carly asked, pushing a piece of chicken around her plate. "Fine." "Good," Joss said, not meeting her eyes. "And Dex? How is he?" "He's fine, Mom." Joss's tone had a defensive edge. The rain pattered against the windows, a steady, mournful rhythm. Carly took a deep breath. It was now or never. "Jocelyn," she began, her voice soft but firm. "We need to talk. Really talk." Joss looked up, her guard instantly up. "About what?" "About what's going on with you. About the secrets. About why you and Dex look like you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders." Carly leaned forward. "About Timothy Brennan." The effect was instantaneous and terrifying. Jocelyn's face went bone-white. All the blood seemed to drain from it in a single, shocking second. Her fork clattered onto her plate, the sound unnaturally loud in the tense silence. What?" she stammered, her eyes wide with pure, unadulterated panic. "What did you say?" "I said Brennan," Carly repeated, her own fear now a living thing in the room. "I know about him, Joss. I know he's a dangerous man. I know you and Dex are involved with him somehow. What I don't know is why. And you are going to tell me. Right now." Joss shot up from the table, her chair scraping harshly against the floor. "You have no right. You've been spying on me? I'm your mother." Carly roared, standing to meet her, the dam of her patience finally breaking. "It is my right, and my responsibility, to protect you. And you are in danger. I can see it in your face right now. Who is he, Joss? What does he want with you?" Tears welled in Joss's eyes, but they were tears of anger and fear, not sorrow. "You don't understand. You can't understand. It's complicated." "Then uncomplicate it for me," Carly pleaded, her voice cracking. "Let me help you." "You can't help," Joss cried out, the words ripped from her. "No one can. This is the way it has to be. If you knew, if anyone knew." "Knew what?" Carly was shouting now, the fear turning to a kind of frantic rage. "What is it? Is he blackmailing you? Is he threatening you? Tell me." But Joss just shook her head, backing away from the table, from her mother. "I can't. I made a promise. I have to go." "Jocelyn, don't you walk away from me," Carly commanded, but it was too late. Joss turned and fled from the penthouse, the door slamming shut behind her with a finality that felt like a physical blow. Carly stood alone in the sudden silence, the remains of their dinner sitting cold on the table. The rain continued to fall. She had confronted the truth, and the truth had run away from her. It was worse than she had imagined. The fear in Joss's eyes wasn't just the fear of being caught in a lie, it was the fear of something much, much bigger. Defeated and more terrified than ever, she did the only thing she could think to do. She called the one person Joss might not have run from. She called Dex. He arrived at the Metro Court 20 minutes later, his hair damp from the rain, his expression grim. he found Carly standing by the large windows, staring out at the glistening, empty streets of Port Charles. "She's at the apartment," he said without preamble. "She's upset." Carly turned on him, all her fear and fury now directed at this young man who held her daughter's secrets and her heart. "Upset? Dex, she's terrified. And so am I. It ends tonight. You will tell me everything. Right now. Who is Brennan, and what is his hold over you and my daughter?" Dex looked down at his feet, his shoulders slumped. The loyal soldier was defeated. He knew the jig was up. "Carly." "No," she snapped, striding toward him. "No more lies. No more evasions. You look me in the eye, and you tell me the truth. Or so help me God, Dex, I will go to Sonny, and I will tell him everything. And you know what he will do." The threat hung in the air. They both